You watched it and felt it the same way I did. That 22-19 final didn't feel like a close loss so much as a seismic shift for this season. The Broncos drove the field late. Bo Nix delivered on critical third downs, and Will Lutz buried the game with a last-second field goal to beat the Chiefs. That kick, and the way the Chiefs let the game slip away in the fourth, turned what should have been a response game after the bye into a new low point. Kansas City now sits at 5-5, and suddenly every margin for error is gone. When you peel back the tape, there are three immediate painful moments you noticed. The blocked extra point that wiped out a lead, the stalled fourth-quarter drives where Mahomes went 3 and out twice in a row, and Denver's calm efficiency on third down when it mattered most. All of those pieces stacked up against the Chiefs in a way they hadn't earlier this season, and the result was the Broncos controlling the clock and the scoreboard in the final minutes. That sequence isn't just about one snap, it's symptomatic. You probably remember how the optimism after beating the Raiders and Giants felt fragile. Those wins papered over deeper problems. This game blew that tape off. It wasn't a fluke. The offense couldn't sustain drives when it mattered. The running game failed to keep defenses honest, and special teams miscues directly affected the scoreboard. If you're asking whether this one loss changes how we should view the Chiefs' season, the short answer is yes. It forces us to stop assuming they'll fix themselves and to start asking structural questions about play calling, roster construction, and whether the front office acted when it had the chance. Quick check-in for you. Do you still believe the Chiefs make the playoffs this year? Vote in the poll. Yes, no. And drop a one-sentence reason in the comments. If you want these breakdowns to keep rolling, hit like and subscribe. Help us reach 6,000 subscribers so we can keep covering every twist in this season. You saw the offense struggle in real time, and the numbers back up what felt like an identity crisis. The Chiefs converted only 5 of 13 on third down, couldn't sustain drives when it mattered, and Patrick Mahomes finished with a heavy workload, but not the result you expect when he's carrying the offense. That situational failure on third down kept Denver in the game, and every time Kansas City failed to extend a possession, you could feel the momentum bleed away. What made it worse was the way the offense became one-dimensional. Mahomes threw a ton. The box score shows a high number of dropbacks and pass attempts, while the run game never consistently forced Denver to respect it. When you have to throw 40-plus times to get 19 points, that's not game control, it's desperation. Look at play calling and personnel decisions. The tape and the post-game commentary shows repeated calls out of shotgun where the Chiefs have found success running from under center this season, and many early deep balls that didn't connect. Those design choices limited the short yardage, clock-eating work that would have kept Denver's pass rush and third down packages honest. The running back situation is a core reason for that. Without a true bell cow back, the play caller hesitates to commit to the ground game in critical spots. And that hesitation shows up on third down and late in the fourth quarter, when Mahomes had back-to-back 3 and outs. The inability to keep the chains moving forced the offense into high-variance, long-down situations instead of short, manageable downs, where the playbook opens up. You also have to factor in execution, dropped or poorly timed routes, missed deep connections early, and third down failures compounded to turn promising drives into punts or short fields for Denver. Bottom line, the offense didn't just underperform, it failed to adapt to what Denver gave them. So here's the engagement. Which fix should be the top priority for the Chiefs? Offense: acquire a bell cow running back, overhaul play calling, more under-center work, or rethink deep ball strategy with Mahomes and the young WRs? Drop your pick in the comments and one short reason why. If you want more tactical film breakdowns like this, hit like and subscribe. Help us hit 6,000 subscribers so we can keep the deep dives coming. This game exposed what we've been worried about all season. When the Chiefs can't get to the quarterback, everything else gets harder. And, against Denver, that was the difference maker. You watched Denver convert the critical late third downs and Bo Nix move the chains when it counted. And the tape backs that up. Denver's defense came up with the key plays and pressured the Chiefs into negative drives down the stretch. The Chiefs' pass rush simply didn't win enough one-on-one matchups, and that failure to generate consistent pressure put the secondary in impossible spots, especially on third and long where Denver repeatedly picked up yardage. Personnel choices and schemes showed their hand too. Rotating guys in and out, playing a defensive package that was vulnerable to third down conversions, and the decision to start or sit certain corners, as the transcript mentioned with Christian Fulton and a rookie getting snaps, created mismatch opportunities Denver exploited. When you don't threaten the quarterback, opposing offenses can sit back in longer developing concepts, which is exactly what we saw. Longer completions, easier third down conversions, and a late drive that resulted in a game-winning field goal. That sequence wasn't just bad luck. It was the predictable outcome of not having an edge rusher who can win in one-on-one settings, or a scheme that can consistently create heat. And it's not just about sacks on the stat sheet. It's about pressure rate, quarterback hurries, and the way a real pass rusher changes blocking schemes and opens up linebackers and coverage. Denver's front made those game-altering plays. The Chiefs' front did not. That's why the conversation about spending on an athletic pass rusher or rethinking defensive personnel isn't theoretical anymore. It's urgent. So here's the engagement. Should the Chiefs spend big this offseason on a pass rusher? Vote yes or no in the poll and tell me one name you'd target in the comments. If you want deeper defensive film breakdowns and a plan for what personnel moves make the most sense, hit like and subscribe. Help us reach 6,000 subscribers so we can keep doing this. Now we get to the part of the conversation that gets people really heated. The front office and coaching decisions. The Brett Veach conversation the transcript brings up. And whether this team's problems are structural, not just cosmetic. From the outside, it looks like a pattern. Heavy preference for in-house familiarity. Big contracts for players who fit the scheme instead of prioritizing clear athletic upgrades. And a reluctance to trigger at the trade deadline on pieces that would have solved obvious weaknesses. Namely a bell cow running back and a truly disruptive athletic pass rusher. That mindset reads to a lot of fans as dynasty hubris. The belief that continuity and internal solutions will always be enough because of the Mahomes window, even when the on-field evidence says otherwise. You feel that tension when you watch the tape. The coaches call plays that assume certain strengths. The roster construction insists on comfortable fits over obvious upgrades, and when those fits don't produce, the answer is too often, "We'll figure it out internally," instead of, "We need new blood." Coaching loyalty is a feature of every long-running winner, but it becomes a liability when it prevents the organization from adding new voices that challenge groupthink. That's what critics mean when they say the Chiefs keep hiring from within, or re-signing familiar faces rather than aggressively pursuing upgrades. On game day, that shows up as play calling that doesn't adapt, conservative choices in key spots, and personnel rotations that confuse more than help. On the roster side, refusing to trade draft capital for a clear immediate need, even when the cost is reasonable, looks like fear of breaking a model that built previous championships, instead of acknowledging the roster has aged and lost key traits. This isn't just emotional reaction. It's an argument about priorities. Do you keep the structure because it brought rings, or do you change course to restore balance around your Hall of Fame quarterback? The honest answer is probably somewhere in the middle. You should value continuity where it works, but you must be ruthless about fixing repeated, exposed weaknesses. So here's the engagement for you. If you could make one front office move right now, what would it be? Fire a coordinator, trade for a running back, sign a pass rusher, or start a full rebuild? Drop your pick and one-sentence why in the comments. If you want these conversations to keep happening every week, hit like and subscribe. Help us reach 6,000 subscribers so Total Chiefs News can keep the pressure on and the breakdowns coming. Here's where we pull everything together and look at what's actually fixable. Not in theory, but in real football terms that can change the direction of the season. The good news for you as a Chiefs fan is this: none of the issues we just broke down are fatal. They're frustrating, yes, but they're fixable with the right adjustments and a willingness to break old habits. The offense doesn't need an overhaul. It needs identity. That starts with re-establishing the run game in a way that isn't just symbolic. You know Mahomes can carry the team, but when he's forced to throw 40-plus times and the Chiefs still score under 20, that's a red flag about balance. Building more under-center concepts, doubling down on physical interior blocking, and trusting a primary back would stabilize drives, protect the defense, and bring back the efficient version of this offense that wins games in November and December, not just September. Defensively, the fix is even clearer: pressure, even one legitimate pass rush addition. Via free agency, a trade, or elevating a developing player into a full-time role, changes the math on late downs. When the Chiefs get pressure, the entire defensive identity flips. The secondary becomes opportunistic, linebackers play faster, and Spagnuolo can be the aggressive, creative coordinator he's known to be. Denver didn't beat Kansas City because they were better top to bottom. They beat them because they were more disruptive in the moments that mattered. If the Chiefs can re-establish disruption, whether by scheme adjustment, rotation changes, or personnel additions, you'll see immediate improvement. The coaching and front office angles matter too, but the solution isn't blowing up the staff, it's recalibrating. You want Andy Reid and his staff leaning into what this roster does well now, not what it used to do well 3 seasons ago. And the front office has to be willing to get uncomfortable. It might take a mid-season signing, it might take giving a young receiver more priority in the rotation, or it might take spending money on a stopgap rusher, instead of waiting for the perfect long-term fit. The Chiefs don't need perfect, they need impact. So here's your final engagement. What's the one realistic move you believe would most improve the Chiefs right now? Scheme change, player addition, rotation adjustment, or front office shift? Drop your take in the comments and explain why. And if you want weekly, honest, fan-first breakdowns like this, hit like and subscribe. Help us reach 6,000 subscribers so Total Chiefs News can keep bringing you the most complete Chiefs analysis on YouTube. Stay locked with Total Chiefs News. Hail Chiefs!